Music matters. Mr. NC7teen and gang.
Yeah.
What's up?
Good.
Sorry to call that was a rude way to introduce you, not just gang. You should introduce yourselves.
So I'm BennyBeatz. I'm a drummer for NC7teen, and I'm also a producer. And yeah, I'm here. I'm happy to be here. Thank you for having us, Dante.
Thank you, my friend. I appreciate it. Nice to meet you.
I'm Elias. I play guitar for NC7teen. That's about it.
Nice. Who are you?
I'm NC7teen. I mean, I'm the person who like bringing these people together. You know, these are a great group of guys that I get to play with. And sorry, I got a list because I got these fangs in. But I'm just very blessed that you invited us. Very excited.
Of course, man. No, yeah, I very much want to have you guys on. I love what you're doing. Big fan of it. It was cool to me that you wanted to bring like the band along.
Oh, of course.
And that was interesting to me because I feel like so much of like, I mean, because we met through the Kid Lords, and then just like following you and like kind of keeping up with what you're doing. It seems like a lot of your like presence and a lot of like your brand is what you do live.
Yes.
So I thought it made a lot of sense that you like wanted to bring the band along. That was really cool.
Yeah, well, definitely with like the music stuff. Like it started off with just me, but as it's been going on, it's been evolving more into like a group project. Like definitely the music that I've been releasing has been more informed by these guys specifically, you know. Definitely like as I'm progressing, it used to just be like me producing in my room, but now I always get Elias play guitar on my stuff. You know, just listening to Benny's drumming, you know, has informed a lot of the production and percussion that I've been adding to a lot of my instrumentation. So yeah, I'm very blessed that I'm influenced by these individuals. That's
super sick, man. Yeah, I think about that all the time. Like, I feel like I was actually writing about this morning. I was thinking about like all the people that I've met like through music in my entire life, and it's almost like unfathomable to me to like think about my life without the people that I've met through music. You know?
Yeah, for real. I mean, it was kind of crazy how we all met because we all went to college together, and honestly, we all do completely different kinds of music. You know, like you do like blues and like bluegrass and stuff. And like he does everything under the sun. And when I first started going to college, like I was doing more of like synth pop and like R&B type stuff. But like as like stuff progressed, and definitely over like the pandemic, I really got more into hip hop, especially like underground hip hop. And I really wanted to like bring a new spin of like what I was learning and experiencing through the musicians that I was working with and bringing it to that space. So, you know, that's kind of what the project is currently right now that, you know, I'm working on and doing with the live stuff, because it's very like rage and like underground hip hop inspired, but like a more punk, like more hard rock metal twist on it with like actual live instruments.
Where'd you guys go to school?
We went to Cal Arts, the California Institute of Arts. It's actually like 30 minutes that way. So it's a very small but very like prestigious art school. Like literally the best of the best motherfuckers you'll find on the planet. It's okay if I curse?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, yeah, the best motherfuckers on the planet you'll find at that school. Like,
I'm starting to realize that's a question in like every interview within the first 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So
I don't know. I don't know. Like, should I be like PG?
It's respectful. I appreciate it, bro.
Of course,
Thank you for asking.
Yeah, but yeah, like it wasn't just a music school. It was definitely like an art school. So like there were people who did dance.
Yeah.
There were people who did like animation. It's a big animation school. People who did acting. So it was a great incubator to like find your artistic expression, because I was gonna either go to like for music I was planning on going to NYU, I was gonna go to or Berkeley, but I really wanted to go to this one specifically because I visited. It was close. I wanted to be next to the LA scene, and it was just every kind of artist, and I like being around artists more than musicians.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Do you feel like going to like a prestigious music school like that, it makes a lot of sense to me that like you originally were making more like R&B, like soul inspired things? Because like a lot of your project to me, like, I mean, it's very hip hop through and through, but I also feel like there's a lot of like almost like R&B runs in it and like more melodic moments. Like, do you think that like that there was a big embrace of that kind of music like when you went to school, or was there a bit of a pushback to it? Like, what was the main music that people like in school were listening to when you were there?
Honestly, some really weird shit.
Yeah.
Like,
you can improv, like free improvisation, making sounds like that, you know, no one has ever heard before with like things that you would never imagine. People would make music with, like I had this. My teacher told me about this story that someone started cooking an omelet as part of their performance.
What?
Straight up.
And then started serving it out to the whole audience. And then my teacher was engineering, and he got the last bite. And he was mad sick the next day.
That's crazy.
So I mean, that's part of the performance to me a little bit, eating that shit after.
Yeah.
Like for he had a mid residency that he performed just this year, and it was all kinds of music. We had like jazz, funk, hip hop, soul, like traditional music. So like it's a very big like it's everything, but like definitely there's a big focus on pushing boundaries.
Yeah.
When we go to school. Yeah.
That's interesting. Like, do you think people were respecting, like, because I don't know, like, I've always felt like, at least like when I was in school, like, I didn't go to school for music, I went to school for music industry, but it felt like there was like a lot of pushback to things like pop music. Yeah. And it was like, it's interesting to me to hear that like there was more of like a wider reception of things that were pushing boundaries. So like if a pop artist came out and was doing like great numbers, but they were doing something incredibly boundary pushing, would that have been like embraced at CalArts, or do you think it would have been like, there would have been more of a pushback to it?
Well, honestly, like there's cliques with everything.
Yeah,
there definitely was cliques at our school. We had the jazz kids, we had like the music tech kids, we had an experimental pop group. So
that's cool.
Definitely with every métier, we didn't have majors. We had métiers, whatever the fuck that meant.
What?
Métier, it's a French word.
It's a French word because we're prestigious. So yeah. So
I'm gonna turn your mic a little bit. Keep talking.
Oh, of course. Yeah. Sorry.
You're good.
But with every group, it really depended. Like if I would talk to the jazz kids, they would be like, I don't fuck with like Travis Scott, or like I don't like Billie Eilish, but they would talk about like Miles Davis, or like the yacht. There was like a yacht rock kid group, and they would just be like Doobie Brother cover band type shit. And then like you would talk to like the music tech kids, and they were like in the like hyper pop and like definitely like a bunch of like trance and like techno and like all that stuff that I'm not fully into, but like I love just being able to experience that. And then with X pop, that was very more like pop oriented leaning stuff, like R&B influenced stuff, like pop rock, like very more like generalized type of music. So it really just depends on who you ask, but like you could find somebody who like fucked with whatever you were trying to do. So it was a great place, but definitely like you had to fight to be like, this is what's going to be played tonight, because every Thursdays we would have things called gallery nights, and it would just be like people would just set up and like people would perform in every room of the school. We tried to throw a hip hop show on the sub level. Motherfuckers did not fuck with that. Our school security shut the shit down so quickly. They were like, you're not performing this. Like,
why?
They suck.
Yeah, they kind of suck because our school's very open-ended. Like, there's graffitis on the walls and there's paint on the fucking ground everywhere. But like when it becomes to making noise, they don't really like that. So, anytime we would try to like set up impromptu stuff, they had like so many precautions. Like after COVID, they were like, you have to get the proper paperwork, this yada yada, which I understood in a sense. But like definitely like before COVID, it was much more able to express yourself and like set up and perform any way that you wanted to. But they really cracked down on that, unfortunately, and they still are. Like they pull out a fucking gun on y'all.
It was close to our graduation, and we wanted to throw a little party in the sub level. And bro, they came straight up and they were like trying to shut that shit down. And like they kept like plugging out the power, and I was like fuck out of here, I'm graduating in a week. Like, I'm trying to
I don't care.
I kept plugging it back in, then he ended up like shoving me, and then people were like, you don't touch people like that. And so they started getting like more physical, and they called the sheriffs, and the whole squad pulled up, like three cars like for little
for music
for 10 people
for music at an art school.
Crazy. Yeah,
stupid.
A little too prestigious in my opinion.
Yeah. That's interesting. Okay, so you guys are there, and when you find each other, was it through a class? Were you in the same friend group, and did you relate immediately, like on a musical level, or were you friends first? Kind of how did that relationship evolve into how you guys are started playing together now?
So initially, I was there first because I graduated. Well, we both graduated, but I graduated a year before Benny over here, and I didn't know any of them until you came my second year. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, you came my second year. And what class? I think we had like skills or something together. Like
something, but I think I mostly remember meeting you through Antonio and Antonio and Dylan and Sean.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So I made a group of, we had this group of friends my second year that I got really close to, and then he was a part of that friend group, and like, you know, I wouldn't say we were extremely close. I think we got more extremely close during like the pandemic because we had more classes, and I think we had to collaborate more. But definitely I was aware of like his genius, and like he was working. Anytime I would go into the studio with anyone at school, he would be in those studio sessions working with somebody, like doing something, and I was just like, how do you know how to do everything? Because this fool can play almost any instrument, like can produce his ass off. Like if there's anyone out of us who's I think is gonna get a Grammy, it's this motherfucker. I'm not even shitting you. Yeah, but that's how I met Benny, and then like you came out last year. You came
2 years ago.
Yeah, you came 2 years ago.
2 years ago,
yeah, so I met you when I was a senior.
Yeah.
And I just knew you could play guitar, and because you never have to question if a motherfucker's killing it.
Yeah.
So I was just like, I heard you play once, and I was like, you have a very like soulful influence, and there wasn't a lot of like soulful guitar players besides Michael.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's our bass player.
Yeah.
Besides Michael wasn't going to school at the time, so like he dropped out. So I was like, I need somebody who could like play some crazy shit. So I just we started talking, and then we just like I think I'm trying to remember exactly how I met you, but I think I met you at a I think it was our Black Student Union Halloween party.
Yeah.
That's when I think I officially met you.
Yeah. You pulled up on me in a parking lot. Do you remember that?
Oh my God, did I really?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
That's
that was crazy. You were like, yo, I heard you play bass.
Bass first.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had to play bass first, but then I realized like he was actually like killer as fuck on the guitar. So like, and I think his sound more, because Michael is a bass and a guitar player, but his music more aligned with like jazz and like soul, and like I fucked with that. But I was like, he had more of like a blues rock influence like for his like main lead. So I was like, put that shit all over what I'm working on. So yeah, that's kind of how we kind of met. I pulled up in a fucking parking lot.
Yeah, I remember.
That's some shit.
It's funny shit, bro.
Yeah.
It's interesting to hear you guys talk about this because I always ask this question when people talk about like where they went to school for music and stuff and going to school for music in general. I always ask like, are you happy you did it? But it's funny because the answer is always like, yeah, before the connections. And you guys didn't even like
100%.
say that, but it was like, I can tell that's like probably how you feel.
Yeah, no. The curriculum, some of it was great. Other times it was fucking stupid as fuck. Like,
Yeah.
like non-tonal. We had this.
Oh my God.
We had this one class was called non-tonal. It had nothing to do with tonal music, so it'd just be like, and you would have to
analyze that shit.
Yeah, analyze it. It'd be like, what's the theory behind this?
You would notate like sounds, it's just like, but not music, just like sounds.
It was music in a way, but it was like,
Yeah.
Not-
This is where it gets complicated.
Yeah, that's all
it
it
didn't
is.
make fucking sense. But
Yeah.
they were like, if you want to get, I had to get through that shit to get the jazz theory, which I was really trying to get to, because I started off in like anything in music. The first thing I did was jazz piano in middle school. No, my first year of high school. So I really want to get to those courses, but you had to get through all this bullshit so you could take those classes that you really wanted to take. And non-tonal was the only thing standing in my way. And like literally that class almost killed me because it's basically like a math class. It's not even like, and I love math, but I hate like doing it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
So it's just like fucked. But you know, it's apparently they really want you to understand every facet of music.
I guess I understand it like to a degree.
Yeah.
But it's also like you would think if the shared opinion amongst like almost like at least all the people in my personal experience that I've talked to that went to school for be it film or be it music or whatever, like every film school like graduate I talk to and I ask about like that thing specifically, they'll go like, oh yeah, like it was great, but I couldn't touch my camera until like my sophomore year. Like I couldn't touch a camera until like my junior year. Or with like musicians, it's like, yeah, this is cool, but I wasn't like playing until like I was an upperclassman. I've never really like, I don't know, I've just never really understood that perspective. Like I guess to a degree, I do understanding like an art form as a whole, right? Like in its totality, like understanding every aspect and every facet of what it is you're making. But at the same time, it's like, I feel like there's such like an influx of people who want to be artists or like want to do something in art, but they just don't make art. And I feel like it's very much like the biggest plague for like aspiring artists a lot of the time. It's like they can do a million things, but they're not putting anything out, or like they can research something and like study it as much as possible. They aren't like creating.
Yeah.
And I feel like very often college in that way can kind of like encourage that mindset, which I think is like a really bad thing.
Yeah, college is the opposite. I mean, it throws you in the fire, and
Oh, that's sick.
you have,
Yeah.
like endless possibilities of what you could discover, what you could add to your arsenal, and at the end of the day to your personality.
I know we're kind of talking shit,
That's
but
cool.
I'm very happy that I was able to go to further connections, but I definitely did learn some shit that I do implement in like that especially in like the music field and like going out into the workforce and trying to get into that field. Like I feel like I have an edge above like a lot of people.
For sure.
So that's definitely a blessing. But the only thing that like kind of like first when you get there, like everyone's like, let's play shit. You shut up shows and stuff. Like that's always gonna happen like your first year. But definitely, like studios was the only thing that like took a while to get into. Like we have like an array of studios
DRS.
that you can use, and like we have this really two like very top of the line studios called the ROD and the DRS. Like that's you had to take a lot of classes and courses to like fully get acquainted with like the theory behind recording and mixing and like the equipment itself before they allowed you to start playing with those toys. But
that makes sense.
yeah, that's the only way it made sense. But no, it was very like, if you want to be an artist, be an artist. Like it wasn't like like okay, lollygag around, because we would have to meet with our mentors. Each of us had like a mentor specifically that was watching our progress as an artist and our artistic progression. And like if you weren't doing shit, they'd be like, start doing more shit.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. That's so cool. Yeah. Wow, I feel like that's like the most vital thing they could tell you.
No, exactly. And that's why I'm glad, because it's very small. So like you had teachers who could focus on you like that. What I'm saying? It's not like there was thousands of kids. It was like 10 kids a class.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
True.
Also, that way you could really like build with the people you're on, with your peers,
Exactly.
and now like those peers are not just connections. They're like part of like collaborators, like what we were talking about at the beginning. In terms of meeting people that and what art is, in terms of like being collaborators, and that's what art is. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%.
Really
I think
beautiful.
like for a while I was so like, and this is like admittedly probably out of insecurity, but for a long time I was so like anti-college for like artists. But then like, I mean, I think everybody has that phase or whatever,
Yeah.
But it was so interesting to me when I moved to LA, and I quickly learned that like, wow, it seems like every single person like I meet in the music industry like went to USC or went to like the school on the East Coast or went to like another private school out here. It's like, it's very interesting to me that like so many of those people like directly translate like into people in LA like doing music for a career. It's like super interesting.
Definitely like, it's definitely like a mixed bag.
Yeah.
Especially like on like when you look at the more people who do like background stuff, like I do most of the time see like a degree, but like when it comes to like expressing yourself and like being an artist, like you see all types of backgrounds in education.
That's a great point. Yeah.
That's what it's about. It's being a musician. Like all perspectives are encouraged. Like there's dropouts. There's people who have doctorates. Never opened a book in their life. You know what I'm saying? But that's the beauty of like being able to make music. It's like you can communicate what you can't communicate in other ways. So like, I think it's interesting. Like I'll be like at like a party, and I'll see somebody who I went to school with, and introduce me to somebody who's like the baddest motherfucker at like the drums, and like I'm like, how'd you learn this? And they'll be like, I just fucking was watching YouTube videos.
Yeah.
So like, literally YouTube can be your college. It's just about discipline, and college is like it's forced discipline in a way, because it's a curriculum. Like I could have learned everything I wanted to at college online at this point. But like it was just like it was set out for me so I could learn it in the most efficient way to them.
It's literally a YouTube university, bro.
It is. Yeah.
That's like what I say all
That's
the time.
What Zoom was. Like,
Yeah.
Which is terrible for our college, because we were all trying to perform and shit, and like having to just be able to just like perform for motherfuckers on like a Zoom call, or like, I had to sing for people like, or like my teachers via like Zoom and shit. And it was so annoying, because I wasn't really learning much. I was just like you were just going through the motions really. But it was good because like it encouraged a lot more collaboration, because you had to be able to like create with more people. So it has that had its ups and downs.
No, yeah, of course. That was definitely how I felt about like Zoom school.
Yeah.
Like I tried so hard to like genuinely be interested in it and like genuinely care, but it just didn't feel like I was learning anything. Like it felt like I don't know. There's something that like I think is to be said about like sitting in a room with somebody and then like physically walking you through something like from step to step. I think especially in music.
No, 100%. Did you go to college?
I went to community college for 2 years,
Right.
and then I moved here.
Okay, lit.
and then I stopped.
Of course.
Yeah, but I was going to school for music industry, and I felt like I was like, maybe this was only because I was at community college as well, but I genuinely felt like I was like doing things on a day-to-day basis, or I was being taught things on a day-to-day basis that I was like already doing.
Okay, 100%.
Yeah.
You kind of find overlap a lot with that. You're like, damn, I'm definitely like, as much as it is you're learning curriculum in a school, like definitely if you go out, you're going to learn way more faster.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
No, 100%. Like it's like, I mean, that's kind of why I encourage like just creating.
Yeah.
I feel like creating is often so much more educational than like learning how to create, because I don't think anybody can tell you how to create.
Yeah.
I think like everybody's process is different. Everybody creates art in a different way, and it all has to do with like the way that you look at the world, you know?
Exactly.
So it's like I don't think there's any way that somebody can teach you how to look at the world, you know?
No, exactly.
Let me ask you guys this, as like musicians who went to music school and then are now like actively like pursuing music in the field, how much do you think music theory contributes to like the way you create on a day-to-day basis? Because I think the answer is different for everybody, right? Of course, depends what kind of music you make, depends like how you make it. But it's interesting because like I think there's some people who you would think music theory never applies, and then it always applies. And there's people who you think whatever they're doing is incredibly theoretical, but they just have a good understanding of chords or like feeling. And it's like, to you guys personally, and what you guys create, like how much does music theory play into it?
Yeah, I want you to answer this one.
Me?
Yeah.
I'd say a lot. I don't know. It's like math, right? Like when you're walking down the street, you're not thinking about like quadratic formulas and shit.
Yeah.
But you still have it in your head about like, you know, addition.
Yeah.
You know, like,
that's a great way to look at it.
So it's like, you know, you write a song and you're like, oh, what should this chord progression be? How do these chords relate to each other? And you're not really like actively thinking, oh, this is the, you know, this is the fifth, this is the minor, whatever. You know, you're just doing it, I guess. I don't know. You just learn enough theory that at some point it just becomes like
second nature.
Yeah, second nature.
Yeah.
Huh, that's an interesting way to put it. So it's almost like after a certain point, it's just like subconscious.
Yeah, for sure.
It's just like in your head.
Sometimes though,
I
mean, you have to be like,
good.
Damn, I gotta remember this shit.
You
know,
like definitely like this, like the. Fuck it, I gotta change my passcode now. But the passcode to my phone is the circle of fifths, just so I can remember it. You know what I'm saying?
That's crazy, because I barely understood the circle of fifths in my music theory 1 class, which I failed.
I failed it too. Don't worry, it took like 2 times to get to that class. But like definitely like there were some things that I did have an understanding for when I was first going into school. Like I knew like what chords were and like, you know, like how things kind of related and like key changes and all that shit. But I didn't know what the proper precautions were to be like, this makes it sound like this. And I feel like, you know, the exciting part that you can always learn about music, and that's the exciting part about it. You can always add more tools to your toolbox, and like definitely now like there's some subconscious things that are added to my repertoire of like understanding of music that like I do subconsciously. You know, like I find myself always using like, you know, extended chords now. Like I hate, like I rarely ever used like just like triads nowadays, especially like no matter what I produce, if it's hip hop or not, or like I always try to put in key changes, like, you know, as much as I do, like I like throwing a fucking key change and then like even with just like the rhythms that I'm able to do, like we took a world, what was it, with
world rhythm and notation
with Randy.
Yeah,
that shit was lit, because we
With
had
Randy.
we had to learn how to like understand
Randy
songs
Gloss.
in 13 and 7, and like just being able to feel that time and being able just being able to like, even as like someone who's like a vocalist and being able to like, you know, sing and rap, like you can like put like them taki tays. You know what I'm saying? Exactly. It's like so like crazy shit. So, but that's subconscious at this point. I won't be thinking like, oh shit, I'm
rapping in 7.
But like, you know, I'm just like, you'll be like, damn, like that's where I got that from. You know what I'm saying? Or like, oh, I learned about like disco. I learned about like the beginnings of punk music and stuff like this, and like what those guys were doing when I was into the demos that we were like studying in class. And you're like, you just add it just becomes a part of you in a way. And then like when you look back, you're like, oh fuck, that's where I got that from. You know what I'm saying?
That is super interesting. It's just like subconscious.
Were
you guys performing a lot, like when you were in college? Like, was that like part of your education?
Initially, I
mean, it kind of depended on the métier, I guess. But you know, we always try to perform as much as possible, because, you know, I think for all of us, that's kind of the attraction of music. Is like performing, you know, putting yourself out there.
Was there like unorganized concerts that like weren't from the school? Like, were there like people who like lived on campus throwing shows and stuff?
all the time. All the time. Yeah, that was definitely like a part of the culture there. Just very DIY and being like, we're all trying to figure this out together. So like, we would all be like, bring all the equipment that you got and we'll set up a show. Like and be like, all right, everyone would be in everyone's band and being like, all right, someone's playing keys on this, someone's playing guitar on this.
That's sick.
So like you were able to learn a lot of roles, very quickly. So you could really find like, what the fuck do I want to do? Like, do I want to be like, if I'm in a band, do I want to be the lead singer, or do I want to be the drummer? You know what I'm saying? Like, or do I want to be the guitarist? And like you were able to really find that out quickly if that's things you were into.
Mm-hmm. No, yeah, it's super sick. Yeah. Do you think like part of the reason why you like performing so much now and why it's such a big part of what you guys all do is because you're from that background? Like, do you think that translated into a world where you're performing now, or like what originally kind of inspired you to like want to perform so much as a musician, as an artist? Because I noticed like maybe it's just because since when I've been like paying attention to you and following you and have known you, but it seems like you're like performing pretty actively, pretty often.
Yeah, damn, that's crazy. It had nothing to do with college. I mean, I've always like wanted to be a man. I was a kid who would scream and like they would have to like take me to like the quiet room to like chill out. So I was always a very like hyper kid, and I always loved like not being the center of attention, but I always was very like hyperactive.
Yeah.
So I can't sit still. Like, this is even a challenge for me. But, like,
you're doing good.
Yeah, thank you. So I always wanted to be able to like move around in whatever profession I wanted to do. I think I started actually performing with dance. I used to do like a bunch of like dance shows, like do the talent shows, like dance to Usher, like Michael Jackson, and then like listening to those guys, I started like singing along to the songs because I loved it, and so just that turned naturally into like as like I was performing shit like when I was like 9 years old for like the girls at school or like whatever, but like I never thought it could be a career until I was in middle school, and I tried it for the school play, which was kind of embarrassing because I thought it was corny, but I got the part for I only wanted to sing. I cannot act. I can't act at all. But I did Grease, and I did like the teen angel like sing part, and like that was all I had to do. So like I just had to sing and dance, and literally like all the high school kids came to see our production. And like all the high school kids came up to me and like, you have to sign up for choir, you got to sign up for like the dance school, like all those shits. And I was just like, that's when I realized I was like, okay, people actually think I can do this pretty well, so maybe there's a career there. And then I kind of just like went all the way with it after that. So
yes, sir, I did Grease too.
Hey, that's what I'm saying. Who'd you play?
Yeah, I was just part of the back boys, behind the car.
You're like a Kaneki, I'm not gonna lie to you.
Kaneki?
Yeah, you've ever seen Grease?
No.
Oh my god, it's such a bad movie, but in the greatest way.
It's the musical,
it
right?
Slaps, bro. I'm not gonna.
You
lie.
think it's the song slaps?
Yeah, the song slaps.
I feel like if I heard a song, I'd know it. Probably.
You guys were both in it.
It's the word that you heard. Oh, what's the one?
That sounded like an NSYNC song.
Drifting away. Oh, summer night. Tell me.
That's no, I have seen that.
Yeah,
I've definitely seen that. That's
classic.
like that's like the scene where like the girls like or the dude's like walking up to the girl in the parking lot, right? With like the
yeah, like with the slick back.
Yeah, like full greaser.
Yeah, exactly.
Full Italian
John
guy.
Travolta and shit.
Yeah, type shit.
Very Olivia Newton-John, bro.
Yeah,
killed it.
Yeah.
Shout out Olivia Newton-John, man.
Shout out.
Yeah, rest in peace, rest in power.
Yeah.
So like performing so much and like kind of being in that world, do you think like things and ways that you perform songs, like maybe if you change a melody on stage or stuff, does that ever like inspire you in the studio, and kind of vice versa as well? Are you like actively thinking about the live performance when you're in the studio working?
Now I am, definitely, because like during the pandemic is when I created most of the music that I'm about to release with and perform with these guys. I definitely was like, you have so much time to think about every single detail, but and I was very meticulous, but now I feel like I'm taking a more like authentic, raw approach. Like I freestyle all of the songs that I come up with now, because I used to write down everywhere, be like, damn, that's stupid, you know what I'm saying? But like now it's just like whatever I'm feeling in that moment, I try to record and write, you know what I'm saying? So like nowadays, like it used to take me like months to make a song. Now it's just like I'll make a song in like an hour or two. So and it feels better because like I feel like I can perform that better, because like it is, writing music in a way is a performance, especially if you're recording with other people. When you're by yourself, it's very like It's, you know, I don't
It's
know how to
fixed.
describe it. It's very fixed, you know what I'm saying? But like, you know, you have to like not live up to an expectation, but there are expectations to be like, I don't want these motherfuckers to think I suck. So like,
Yeah,
you have
sure.
to like really hone up on your skills when you like start recording with like around other individuals. So that's like what I really try to be, is like, because I had a lot of trouble like singing in like the studio because I'd be really shy.
Yeah.
And the way I got around that was just like I would just sing what I was comfortable singing, and then like, you know, because I would be able to sing like hella tenor notes and like in the comfort of my own home, but I would just be like, I'd be so like strained, and I'd be so like tense when I'd be recording around people, because I'd be like, damn, I know I'm a good singer, but like I have to try to be a good singer. But like you don't really, like once you realize you don't really have to try, and you're just like free and you're like relaxed, and like you can express yourself in like a more, and like in the way that you really want to. But even though like, you know, you're able to express yourself more, like just like hearing these guys' input, you know, it helps you create in a more raw and authentic way. Because, you know, if it's just all up in here and like you're just creating music from like one perspective, then you're gonna make music just for you, and that's cool, you know. But I really want to make music for like a large amount of people. So like the more perspectives, the more people I get to talk to, is like, I think the better informed that music becomes.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Sorry, I went off on a tangent there.
No, you're
Yeah.
good. I feel like that also, I don't know, I've always felt like if I was a musician, like being in the studio would push me if I was with people.
Yeah.
You know, because it's like, I think there is a certain level of like, I think there's two elements, right? Like you want to do it for the people you're with.
Yeah.
And then it's also like a lot of times, you know, there can't be some competition aspect to it, or like an aspect of you that like wants to create the best thing, like with the people around you, because all your name is on it, you know?
Yeah. Definitely within hip hop, like especially being around a lot more rappers recently, you want to be like the hardest motherfucker to put down 16. And like, even though like I know there's people who are definitely more proficient at me on like on a rapping level, I definitely think like my melodic sense like helps me write for other people, and like, you know, just come up with like catchier stuff. Because like I had a huge influence of pop, and that's why I like, you know, especially with my melodic lines, like I try to bring into like the hip hop space, you know. And also just like a bunch of other things too, but like definitely like from my perspective, what I can bring to the table is like I love classical songwriting, like because I love Quincy Jones and Michael Jackson and like Prince and Stevie Wonder and Donny Hathaway. That's my favorite artist, and like Aretha Franklin, all these greats who like used to sit down and craft songs, and like and definitely like a space in a subculture where like it's very like quick, and like how quick can you make a song. Like I think it's nice to also try to bring in like classical theory and like of songwriting to the kind of music that this kind of music that we're doing.
Yeah, no, 100%. I think it's cool when you do that as well, but it's like I also feel like it's so interesting to hear like how different people craft songs, right? Because some people can like write a song in 25 minutes and it's the best song they've ever made, and they can write a song over a course of a month and they end up hating.
Exactly.
You know, it's so interesting. I guess it is just like whatever makes you tick. Has that process for you like evolved over time?
Yes, definitely. Like I feel like as like a songwriter, you do it gets faster as you train more, because it is like training, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, you definitely have to experience other people's like the best way to learn is to watch other people. Like I've been very fortunate. I used to shout at this guy, and his name was 6 John. He used to songwrite for Neo, and I learned a lot from him, being able to just like watch him create songs like on the spot, and like understanding what it took to be like a professional songwriter. So like that informed me to be able to be like, how do you make choices? Because it's really about like how do you make the right choices, you know. That's like when you're working with people in like a very under pressure sense, like you know, it did evolve for me from being like, okay, I'm gonna just sit and doesn't matter how long I'm gonna take to make a song. But then like once I was like, I have to release music, you have to get it done, and like I try to have it be a natural process, but I don't like spending more than like a day or two on like writing a song nowadays. The most recent song though, which is funny, like the Fear No Evil track I released, that took me 2 years to write because I was so stuck on the second verse. But like as life continued, you know, I was able to fill in like the second verse. So it really is up in the air, but right now I would say I'm currently more in the moment. Like two days, I'm gonna get a song done. You know what I'm saying? How does it work for you? Because I know that, you know, you've been releasing music recently under your own project, so like, I don't know how long it takes you to make a song.
I don't know. Pretty quickly, I guess. I don't know. Well, because I study like composition at Cal Arts, so that's like what I'm like my main passion is, I would say. So I don't know. It's always been pretty quick for me, like a day or two, probably.
I'm jealous.
I don't know. I don't know. How about you, Benny?
Yeah, I'd say the same. You know, I try to keep it short and sweet. You know, and just get the idea out, even if after I listen to it and I'm like, oh, this was whatever. At least like it's out, you know, and it's somewhat complete, and I don't want to like keep my mind on it.
I think that's a good way to look at it, because think of it, right? If there's like, you know, if there's like 100 ideas in your head and they're all like 1% done, it's like one of those 100 ideas could be the one, once it's 100% done, that's going to change everything for you.
Exactly.
But you don't know, or it's going to be your favorite one ever, but you just never know like which one of those partial ideas is the correct one to expand upon.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah, it definitely is it's a discipline as an artist to finish something, you know, because we all have probably thousands of songs on our computer that are not finished.
Yeah.
Being able to decide what you're going to finish takes a lot of patience and like understanding with yourself, and just like sometimes you gotta sit down and bang it out to get it done. You know,
I think there is a such thing too, is like being too much of like a perfectionist to the point where like if you sit on something for too long, you start to hate it.
That's all our problem, I think.
Yeah. That's been my problem my whole life, bro. Like I feel like that. I don't know. I think every artist at a certain point like hates everything they make because they sit on it for too long. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like for me, like this album that I'm releasing, which is gonna come out next month. I've been working on it for like two years, and it could have been, honestly, it could have been out a year ago. But I think performing it, you know, I'm performing all these songs that are gonna be released, and being able to be like, how do I want it to how do I feel on stage, and like being able to like get these guys' synergy, like it has really informed the way of the record. Like literally just like I think a month ago I was just like, fuck it, I don't even want like synths, all it to be synths. I want it to be like trap, guitars, and rage, like all that shit. I want to put it all in, because it was just gonna be our guitar parts and all that stuff. That was only for live stuff. But I decided like last minute, I was like, I want that to be, because that's what makes me unique specifically. So I want that to be the record itself. You know, I don't want it to be like you're kind of missing out until you go to a live show. I want you to be like, even if you're in fucking Mumbai, you can understand like what the essence of like the NC7teen musical project is.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people often look at it like the opposite way. You know, like a lot of people like they will save something that like just to do it live, you know, like have a part that they'll just play live. But it's really interesting. Do you guys like stray a lot from like how a lot of the songs are on the record? Like, will you improv on stage? Will you like change a lot of the stuff on stage?
I'm so meticulous. So like so I do our live playback ourselves. So I'll have like an Ableton Live file set up. So like they'll have monitors, you know, kind of like this, and like they'll have a click track, and they'll play the track. So like I'll have all the stems, and like a week before I'll be like, okay, I'll put a guitar solo here, we'll have like a break here, we'll add the chorus back and forth, you know, or like, you know, I had them like, I took off the vocals of one of my tracks at our last show, and I just had like our two guitars do like a guitar solo battle over it, just because I was just like, fuck, you know what I'm saying? Like it's so open-ended, and like music I don't look at music as a very rigid thing, you know what I'm saying? Like definitely, like I want to bring something new to every live performance. Like I don't want you to come to any live show we have and I want to be completely different, you know what I'm saying? I don't want you to be able to expect what's happening. So like there is that incentive to come back and see us perform again.
That's so interesting. It does seem like you're very, very meticulous about like the way that you perform. I'm super, super excited to see you live.
Yeah, no, I love performing, and like I love performing with these guys because they bring me a lot of energy. Because, you know, I can simply just record with a backing track and just like all that stuff, but like it's not, you can get energy, but like there's so much energy when you're like with a group of people you really fuck with, and like everyone's just like really killing it, and you can just feel that it lifts you up to like a different whole perspective. And I'm not in my head as much. I'm just like, you know, they're doing their job of holding it down, I'm doing my job of just being able to emote, and I'm not thinking about like, okay, damn, how does this sound? Because I already know that this sounds killer.
Sure.
Yeah. On that note, can I ask you about like the makeup and everything you want to do on stage? Like, was there a specific thing you wanted to convey behind it? Like, what was the vision? Like, where did it start, and what are you trying to convey with it?
So,
hold on, I'm gonna grab water real quick. Keep talking.
Oh, of course, yeah. So, when it comes to the makeup and stuff, I came up with this idea during the pandemic, and there was a whole Black Lives Matter movement, and as an African American, I was very, you know. Thank you. I was very hurt and confused about like what I was seeing on like TV and kind of like my whole life. And I'm someone who's very into like race politics and race relations and understanding like the history of like of my culture. So the makeup essentially represents like the demonization of African American people in America, because it makes no sense to me why like why my community is mainly impoverished, why we're exploited, why we're heavily incarcerated, and why like people are so trigger happy to like murder us when we're just normal people. And so this kind of represents like what does society see us as, like sometimes they look at us as like demons. And that's kind of what the music that I've been making has kind of been about. That demonization and like how that mentally affects you, and how it's you find yourself being like, damn, the world portrays me as like a violent, ignorant person sometimes within like media, and like sometimes how like police treat your peers and yourself. So you kind of it affects your mental health. It affects how you go through every relationship in life, especially when that's like all that's thrown at you. So this is kind of my way to be like, how absurd is it to like look at black people as demons, when we're just normal people. Yeah.
That's wow. I guess I didn't understand it was that like there was that much that went into it behind it. That's so interesting to me.
Yeah.
Obviously that's not something I've ever had to understand as a white person, but that's very, very interesting that like, wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I didn't know. Okay, that's so cool. Was there like, so was it just like experience that kind of propelled you to do that? Or was there like somebody who inspired it? Or was it just like the things you saw happening, things that were happening to you?
It's funny. It kind of works for me because people like really like Playboy Cardi at the moment. So like they kind of related with the whole vampire thing. So I understand that too. I didn't really get the inspiration from that. I really did get like the inspiration of just like, I was like, I used to have these drawings of like, I used to draw like a lot of monsters as a kid, and I was just like, I would try to draw shit that scared me. And so I was just like, damn, like what would I be scared of if I saw on the street, like to represent like people being scared of, it's people clutching their pearls if they see like a black guy or like a group of black people walk down the street, or like, we've all had those experiences, like, me and Elias. But like, so like, I just was like, the inspiration definitely came from, first of all, my love of horror, and like, trying to visually convey a message that it's kind of hard unless it's very literal. Of
course, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, that's so interesting. I think it's also like, it's interesting too because like I didn't know any of the story behind it, but it's like I've seen you do it multiple times, so it's like I automatically like associate it with you too. It's honestly something that like I think is so instantly recognizable.
Yeah.
That it can become like almost like such an important part of your branding or image, and then it's like you're translating this message like subliminally even as much as you are like directly.
Exactly, because like I explain when I perform.
I'm gonna move your bottle. Sorry, it's in the camera.
No.
Go ahead. What are you saying?
Yeah, I always explain during the performance like the messaging of the music that I'm about to perform, because it's like very important to me. Because like, not that I think I love all forms of hip hop. I love all forms of artistic expression, but especially like an underground hip hop, I felt like a lot of disconnect, especially like the rage and like rap and like scene. It's just very surface level, which is cool. It's lit. Like I love getting lit, but like I really want to convey a message because I really take the term rage in a very particular way. Like I make rage music because I'm enraged by a lot of the things that I see within society. Like it's not just me mosh pitting. It's me like expressing myself in a healthy way, especially as a black man, where people already think that you're like overly aggressive. Like it's able to express that aggression in a way that people can understand and not, in a way gentrify and also look at in a more artistic way, because, we have terrible mental health problems in our community. We have, terrible problems with like drug addiction, and that's all due to like the outside factors that really, are placed upon us. And just hip hop is is the musical representation of Black culture to me. So being able to actually, you know, propel Black culture by talking about Black culture is really important within the music that I write, no matter how it sounds.
Of course, yeah. Obviously, this is something that's so like personal and so like it means a lot to you.
Yeah.
Do you ever struggle with being like too personal about like these things, like when you're rapping about it, when you're writing about them? Because I would imagine it hits so close.
Yeah.
That it often gets like difficult to talk about or like emotional. How do you kind of find the courage to like be so forthright about it and be so honest about it?
Honestly, it's therapy. You know.
Something that more people should consider.
Exactly. Like, you know, I recently got into like therapy heavy because I recognized like I was having a lot of mental health issues, and you know, music was the only outlet, you know, that I was using as that. So like the songs that I write, you know, as much as I'm writing, you know, to like make music, like when I really write for like albums and stuff like that, those are therapeutic sessions. When I'm like making music with the homies, that's also therapy, but like in a more fun, expressive way. Like fuck it, I'll talk about like shit we getting lit type shit, but like if I'm like writing a song that I know I'm gonna put in an album, I know that I have to get in the mindset of like I have to release something that's been really on my mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, that's so fascinating. I've always felt like if I was like actively releasing and writing music by myself, I think that's something that'd be really difficult for me.
Yeah.
Because I do feel like, I don't know, very often, like even just in normal life, like I judge, or I think people will judge things that I'm saying or the way that I'm perceived. You know, I would imagine when you're like trying to express something that's so personal and so like important to you, it becomes even harder to be that personal.
Yeah, that's kind of where the name NC7teen comes from, because that's like X-rated, you know what I'm saying? It's stuff that like.
Oh, is that what that means?
Yeah, it's what they used to make X-rated movies, and they changed the name to NC-17.
Oh.
So it's
why?
I'm not even sure. I think they associated it more with pornos.
Oh, okay.
Or something, and so they were like, we need a term past rated R that's not like X. So I think that's the history behind it. So they changed it to NC-17. And I thought that was like it relates to my name a lot, because my name like is NJ. So like my initials, because I'm a junior, my initials are NC. So I just felt like, you know, and then also I started doing music, like taking it serious when I was around 17 years old. So it kind of just like, it was just kind of a perfect combination, and like I really want to talk about really uncomfortable subjects to me and to like a lot of the world. And so I feel like, you know, that's a stamp, you know, like how you label like the movie NC-17. This music is rated NC-17 because like I talk about, you know, like sexual like assault. I'll talk about like, you know, race relations, politics, abuse, all the things that like are heavy on like my mind, you know, that I feel uncomfortable with and like have dealt with, that, you know, that other people, you know, may be uncomfortable to share. But I feel like, you know, sometimes, especially when it's not common for a lot of the music that I listen to, especially in like the Black community, to feature those topics, because, you know, we really try to be we believe in strength and stuff like that, and trying to be very stoic, that like if you talk about those in like any way, like it can be taboo, but I want to be like, you know, try to make it less taboo in a way.
I'm with you, man, because I feel like those are such important conversations that should be brought upon in like all art. That's what I've always thought, like when people say things like this music is too political.
Yeah,
I think that's the silliest thing to me,
100%.
because music by nature inherently is political. It's like part of the art form. It always has been. Like it's funny too, because all the music those people love, they don't understand, is like inherently political.
Yeah,
but like born from like inherently political people who are like were incredibly involved in politics.
Like the Beatles or like Bob Marley, you know, like all these people that we associate with like pop culture, like all that music has stemmed from, you know, a need to make revolution, you know. So, you know, that's kind of where I'm at. Like I'm still in a place where I'm just like, I really want to get these things that, you know, I think a lot of things need to change, you know, in my opinion. And I want to be able to, even if you're not listening, like, and you're just vibing with what I'm doing on stage, like, you know, maybe you'll look into it deeply and you'll be like, okay, damn, like if I fuck with this person and I fuck with what they're trying to say, maybe that will inspire me to make a world where people don't have to write or make music like this, you know?
Yeah, no, 100%. Do you think, like, when you're writing about things like that and you're kind of trying to craft yourself as a musician, is it more difficult or is it less difficult to cut through a lot of the noise that happens on the internet when you're talking about things that are so real? Because I think there is an issue where a lot of the times the more serious things do get drowned out, unfortunately, by things that are more fun, or like, and there's nothing wrong with that, of course, but things that are more fun or things that are easier to consume, how do you kind of tote the line of balancing things that like are super, super important to talk about and very difficult issues to talk about, but very important, and then also maintaining that fun element to your music and that pop accessibility?
Yeah, that's a great question.
Thank you.
I think the beauty of it is that the aesthetic of it is so not mindless, but it is so like accessible.
Yeah.
Like everyone that I know makes this kind of music in like some way, or like listens to this kind of music in some way. And like even though like they may not understand because it's like mumble rap or whatever, like they may not understand or like completely think about like what's going on, you know. So like that's kind of where I am able to make it accessible, because the aesthetic of it surrounding it is accessible already, you know, and because it's the music that I enjoy listening to. But the fact that I'm able to put serious subject matters in it is where I'm able to like, it's like hidden messages. It's like almost like a secret.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that. It's like Hey Ya, you know what I'm saying? Like it's such a happy, upbeat
It's a great
song,
example. Yeah.
but if you like listen to the lyrics, it's about like the ending of a relationship and dealing with like failing relationships and failing yourself. But no one thinks about it because like you just want to dance, and no one really thinks about it because everyone just wants to dance, and like, everyone just wants to come and like mosh pit. But like once like I explain like what's going on, or like they actually like listen or like read the lyrics to like the tracks that I'm writing, like, oh shit, you know what I'm saying? Like this is like, you know, I'm able to relate with you on a more intimate level, you know, than just the aesthetic of the level. Because like again, it's all aesthetics, but like if you just look at the aesthetics, it's one thing, and the one thing is dope. But if you like dig deeper, like you get more sustenance. That's what I want. If you dig deeper, I want you to find more shit. Yeah.
Wow, that's very interesting. I think that also has a lot to do with like the visual as well.
Yeah.
You know, because it's as much as, I mean, especially in like today's musical landscape, what you're hearing is as important as what you're seeing.
Yeah.
100%. And I think like with the way that you're portraying yourself with the you know, like the makeup and then the eyes, and then as well as like what you're wearing very often, I feel like it's conveying like a very specific and a very consistent brand.
Yes.
And I feel like that's something people can come back to, and it's something that like I think it's cool that there's a lot like hidden in it.
Yeah.
Because something you can come back to but not fully understand for a long time.
Exactly.
You know.
Yeah, that's what, you know. I was like, I'm trying to figure out where, honestly, when it comes to like all the makeup and the aesthetic stuff, that's just what I like to wear. I always love doing like makeup. I always love like just like, if you look at my Instagram feed, it's just like monster movie makeup and fucking like gore and shit. And so I was like, I want to kind of like bring and encapsulate what I love to the music that I do, but still, you know, bring a level of depth to it, you know, than more than just aesthetics. Because there's a lot of aesthetics, especially out here. There's a lot of, that's a hard word to say with thanks, aesthetics.
Yeah.
Going on with like, you know, just to look cool, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, people just wear shit like, that's cool, but, you know, and like I'll fuck with that, but, you know, I want people to be like, damn, I really fuck your fit, and I'll be like, damn, you know, like I'm wearing everything that I wear has a meaning, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So the aesthetics really, you know, they let people dive into the meaning.
Why the green suit?
I'm not gonna lie, this is all I had in my old house. So how to pull it out.
Yeah.
You guys, yeah, like the visual of you two next to each other right now is like so contrasted.
I was saying it's like the Riddler and Morbius are getting an interview right now.
That's gonna be the title.
Yeah.
The Riddler and Morbius get interviewed. That's funny. Like, so you grew up in the Valley, right? You said?
Yeah, I grew up in a small town called Moore Park, which is in Ventura, so it's right outside of Simi Valley.
So were you connected to LA then in that way because you're close enough? Or did it feel like a different world?
It's definitely like a different world, because like there definitely was a huge punk scene and like underground like rock scene in Ventura that I felt like I was more accustomed to. Like there was this band at my school called the Melrays that were pretty big. So like just being able to watch them, like that was what I was more accustomed to, but not influenced by. And then as I got into like later in the high school and the college, I started venturing out into like LA once I got like a car and stuff. And like I was able to see like there's so many types of music that were going on that, you know, that I was able to be influenced by, and I try to, you know, respect and pay homage to, especially on the LA scene, especially like West Coast and like G-Funk and like just like just the underground like real like rap scene. Like there's a lot of things that like that's very unique to LA that I try to like throw in. You know, I try to make like my own unique music, but I really try to like throw in little homages to like things I grew up and I was influenced by exploring and going out and like seeing as like a young adult.
Yeah. It's cool too, because like hearing somebody who grew up, like I guess not in LA, but like practically around the area. It's interesting to hear about that, because I've always felt like, you know, as an outsider moving here, it's like you just see the influx of music from all these different places, which is so cool to me. It's like it's such a melting pot. Yeah. Like I love where I grew up, but it's like where I grew up, there's Bay Area musicians from the Bay Area. Yeah. Which is really cool, and I love that. I love everything about that. But also LA is so different. Like you get so many different kinds of music here.
Yeah, exactly. Because no one's from LA.
Yeah.
And everyone came to LA. You know
yeah, exactly.
It's very rare you meet like an LA native, you know. So.
Do you want to live here long term?
Yeah, I'm thinking about, honestly, I was talking the other day, I was like, if I ever move, I kind of either want to go to New York or I want to go to Morocco. But I really want to go to New York because, you know, my mother's from there. She's from Queens. And every time I visit, I feel like it's a piece of home that, you know, I don't really get to experience that often. So I want to be, and like just the culture there is way different, and it's way more real, you know what I'm saying? People are way less fake, and I think being able to experience in those kind of people, is something I kind of long for being out here. When like not that people are fake, but it's definitely like it's very image over substance.
I think that's a good way to say it.
Ecosystem.
Yeah. I stayed in Queens the one time I've been to New York.
Oh, damn. How'd you like it?
I loved it, dude. It was so cool because I felt like it wasn't like, I don't know, I feel like I'd live in a place like similar to that, or like somewhere with the same like proximity to like, you know, like the city. Yeah. Like as Queens, because I like it. I mean, you're still in New York, but you're not like in New York. You know, you have like a little bit of movement, a little bit of movement.
It feels a little bit more rural, you know, if that even makes sense for New York. It feels a little bit more like... Instead of like skyscrapers, you know, you can see like
houses, normal people, and like
Santa Clarita.
Yeah, that's where we had to stay for school, which is fucking awful. Santa Clarita is no offense, it's one of the worst cities in Southern California.
Hey, yo.
I've been up to Santa Clarita. It's interesting. It doesn't feel like LA somehow, but it's so close.
It's so close. It's literally like there's nothing. Everything is a corporation, if that makes sense. There's nothing like that's particular.
It's like from there.
Yeah, there's nothing particular to there. There's no Santa Clarita pop-ups. There's no like.
Yeah.
It's like everything's a McDonald's or like a Whole Foods.
Yeah. Like you can just copy and paste all the businesses from like another shopping center.
It really, and it's terrible.
Yeah.
People there suck. Like Santa Clarita natives are
not racist too.
They're very racist. Yeah.
I would imagine. Yeah. Have you like would you consider like moving from like that area to LA, like in LA?
Yeah, I'm trying to move to North Hollywood right now.
Sick.
Yeah, just try to be like more inside of that area so I can be closer to like venues and stuff, so I don't have to like drive like 40. I mean, it's just for convenience sake, you know. So because I'm out in Moore Park right now, and it's cool, but it's just such a small town that like you feel small towny.
Yeah, and I feel like you can get kind of locked in that mentality when you're in a small town.
The biggest thing that happens there is the pumpkin patch.
So, that's hype, bro.
The pumpkin patch. Oh, wait, are you serious?
Yeah.
Oh, is there like a really big pumpkin patch?
Yeah, like Kylie Jenner brings her kids sometimes.
What?
But yeah, that's her little thing. But I want more than just the pumpkin patch to be, you know, what I'm surrounded by.
Yeah, no, of course. So, where do you see yourself going, like, in the next, like, year to 2 years? I know you said you're working on a project, you have a lot of shows coming, like, moving forward, like, where your sights set on, and kind of what's the next most exciting thing for you?
Shit, well, obviously, like, the music, I'm really trying to really push my artistry in a way. And I really want to, my main focus on my next project after I release what I'm working on is I really want to make it more of a collaborative and kind of sit in the studio with these guys more, you know, instead of just setting stuff out. You know, I want to be more like locked in with them and be able to create more music. I mean, obviously upward trajectory is always what you want, you know. I'm a very, even though I'm expressive, I'm a very reserved person, so I don't really like. I kind of wear the makeup too because I don't really like showing my face, and I don't want to. I like the autonomy of being able to like go to the store, and like if I become really big, I think I'm always gonna at least do some sort of like makeup or like some sort of a costumes or elaborate shit, kind of like David Bowie or like kind of what The Weeknd's doing. Because I kind of like having my art stand for itself than being the music associated with a face, so just I guess upward trajectory. What I'm really excited for right now is I kind of just got this new job doing playback audio, which is like what I do for our live show. So like right now, so right now I'm I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but our company's about to do Ice Spice's tour.
Oh, cool.
So I'm about to be going on tour doing playback audio, which is going to inform how I'm going to do better playback audio for our band. So
gonna see all the Munchkins.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Is that what they call
I'm not.
Yeah, that's what her fan base is.
Yeah, I'm still training, but I'm still training, so I'm not going to be able to go on that tour. That one's in Europe, but
rip the Munchkins.
I know, I'm kind of like, that'd be cool to keep Ice Spice. But like the people that like work with our company like are very influential, big artists. So it's gonna be nice to like just get in the music industry more. And like I'm just trying to like build the correct connection so like I can propel everyone I'm around to like where they want to be. It would as much as I love being an artist, I kind of just want to understand all the facets of like music itself and how it relates to people. Like I don't mind being an audio engineer. I don't mind being a producer. I don't mind being a songwriter. Performance will always be my first and like main love, but anything within music I'm gonna be happy and content with. And right now we're like, it's important that I make money. I'm really trying to figure out where I fit in that term so I can fund myself and fund my more artistic endeavors with these guys. That's kind of like what the future's looking right now. But definitely more NC7teen stuff like all the time, like probably like at least once a month we'll be doing like a show. But I'm very excited to see the world right now. So that's kind of what I'm looking at setting my sights towards, because it's
go to Morocco.
I might be going to Morocco, baby. You know what I'm saying?
That's cool, man. I think it's a very like egoless way to look at it. I think that's beautiful that you're like okay and like we'll be happy and content with like working in music no matter what you're doing. That's something I've been trying to think about recently more and more. But trying to just be grateful to be like be allowed and able to like pursue what I love every day, like pursue my art every single day, and not judge how I feel based on like numerics or like external measurements. Like how many likes like an interview gets or a live session gets, or how many people how many people come to a show that we throw shouldn't be like what's dictating my happiness.
Because at the end of the day I already did my job. Like as long as one person through this life has told me like my music has helped them, that's all I really needed. You know what I'm saying? Just as long as like if 10 people can relate to what I'm saying, then I feel like that's all I was supposed to do. I help someone feel less alone.
It's beautiful.
Because like saving or helping 10 people is more than most people get to do in a lifetime. So that's kind of I've already done it. So I'm happy with whatever happens from here on out.
That's awesome, man. That's beautiful.
Thank you.
NC7teen, appreciate you, man.
Of course.
It was very interesting to hear everything you had to say, your perspective. I love how you just wear your heart on your sleeve and very passionate about the things that you care about in the most beautiful and authentic way. I think it's a very beautiful thing. More people got to do that, man.
Hey, man, we're all trying.
Beautiful. Yeah. Tell them and then thank you as well, Ben and Elias, for being here. Appreciate you.
So important.
It's a lot of fun. Tell them where they can. And then you said you have an artist project as well.
Yeah, sometimes.
And then do you as well?
Yeah, I mean, I'm working on with a couple artists right now.
Sweet.
I'm working on my own project.
Well, promote them all. Tell them where they can find you, your links. And you're playing LCID on the 29th?
Yes, playing the LCID the 29th. So if you guys got time, come up to that. It's going to be fun. We'll have a good time. We always put on like a good show. And quickly, before I this wraps up, I do really want to like give shouts out to like the Kid Lords, like everyone that works.
Shout out the Kid Lords, man.
I want to shout out like Jay and Dante Gear. I want to shout out Weed's Sons, because these are all like Chosen is Frozen. All these people are as much as these are small artists that I'm around, they influence me just as much as like big artists. And like check out those people too. But you can check me out at NC7teen, spelled NC7teen, and We got BennyBeatz.
Sir, BennyBeatz, BennyBeatz.
Yeah.
Life's a riddle.
Exactly.
That was
That was
hard.
sick.
That's the
That was
fit
hard.
explanation.
Elias K. It's kind of a bitch name. Elias, last name Khat.
Yeah.
Cool.
100%.
Hell yeah. Thank you guys. Appreciate you. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hell yeah. All right. Music matters.
Music does.